And a pleasant Tuesday evening to everybody. Welcome you to Ridgecrest Talk. I'm Tom Heck, and we're going to have some sports tonight for a change, and hopefully a good chunk of Tuesday nights. I'll be here with different people throughout the IWV that are involved in maybe coaching or playing, or maybe just long-time fans of the game, and quite a lot of diversity in the IWV, a lot of youth activities going on. Tons of high school sports right now. It's football season, and if you've caught our sports reports, you've heard about Burroughs football and games that they've been playing. Tonight we kind of go towards Saracoso College. We go up the hill, and I want to welcome Justice Scott. Justice is from Northern California, but he has been to a lot of different locations and coached in different places during his day. But first I want to ask you, Justice, about your family. I want to make sure that, because I know your wife is going to be watching this, we want to make sure that you know, she gets her props. But you've got 3 kids, and one is a very good athlete playing IWB football. Go ahead and tell us about the bunch you got at home.
Sure. Got a wonderful family. My wife, Shay, who is definitely watching this, and they got excited that I had the opportunity to come here with you. Wonderful lady, great baseball mom and wife, great sports wife. She played the game. She played softball in college and knows sports, and she'll talk to you about sports too any chance she gets. I got 3 children. Oldest son Brooks, who is just turned 13, and he loves sports. He's playing football right now. He's a baseball kid too. And my middle one Chase just turned 9. He's more of a basketball guy. He likes basketball and baseball. And then we got the princess of the family, a 7-year-old named Finley, and she's you know, she's the athletic genes haven't hit her yet. She likes soccer though, and she's more of she likes artwork and, you know, in school, and all of them like school, but she's more of a kind of artsy type kid right now anyway.
A wife that likes sports, loves to talk about sports, and can cook. What else could man ask for? All right. Hey, let's talk about your coaching and playing career. Now, you have toured a lot of places, mainly the southeastern part of the United States. Tell us about that.
Sure. It's like so many baseball coaches. You know, I started and jumped around when I was young. I played at the University of Memphis for 2 years, and then I got done playing, and I played 2 years of independent baseball in Illinois. After that, I kind of knew I wanted to get into college coaching. It was a dream, and so I got my grad assistant. I was a GA at Middle Tennessee State. Then from there, I might get the order wrong, but I bounced around from you know, Jackson State Community College, Lincoln Memorial University, both in Tennessee, to Murray State in Kentucky. Then out to California for the last couple of years. I was at Del Oro High School, and through the mix of that, I was at the Wood Bat Summer Leagues, the collegiate leagues that you go up, and I was in New York and South Carolina. So it was a lot of fun, but you bounced around a lot, that's for sure.
Okay. Excuse the phone call, but it's a very important score we just got. They were supposed to maybe do it a little bit differently, but 2-0 was the final score tonight over at Saracoso College. Women's soccer. That just was completed about 10-15 minutes ago, and there's our update right there. 2-0 the final. If you get a chance, come out and support Saracoso soccer, Saracoso baseball coach right here. And on a future Tuesday, we hope to have head coach Chris Dixon, who was there right now letting us know the final score. Hey, let's talk about the difference between the NJCAA, which is a National Junior College Athletic Association that basically monitors 2-year schools throughout the U.S. And let's talk about California. California, a member of the COA, Commission on Athletics. Now, there's some big differences, and people ask me all the time, well, how come your rules aren't the same as maybe the other 49 states? Well, California is a big place, has about 95 junior colleges that play athletics, probably has about 140 campuses altogether. Some schools don't play athletics, but there are so many schools in California that they have their own league, own state championship, and no scholarships. There are no athletic scholarships at any junior college in California. The other thing about California junior colleges that are different than the NJCAA is that a lot of the NJCAA schools, especially ones in areas like ours, have dormitories and live-on facilities, on-campus housing with a meal plan and the whole works. In the whole state of California, I believe right now there are only 7 schools that really have on-campus housing, and there has not been a dorm built in the last 25 years that has been paid for by the state. Our Mammoth campus has a dorm up there, but that dorm was privately funded. And I know that affects you as a coach, because in an area like this, a question comes to you, well, where do you get your players from? What part of the state, where in the world can you bring folks in? And there's no housing. So another problem for you and coaches here is trying to find places to live for kids. Talk about that.
Sure, and that's obviously the biggest difference in the state of California and the rest of the country with junior college baseball or any athletics. But yeah, it's a hurdle we all have to get over. I mean, we're all in the same boat. Every junior college that has sports is in the same boat. So it's just a hurdle. You know, we're fortunate up at Saracosa to have out-of-state waivers, which not many do in the state. So it makes us a little easier to get out-of-state recruits. And you know, the main thing is what we have to tell guys, or what I'm going to tell guys, is that, hey, you're in Southern California. Everybody knows it's a great area to play baseball. You have a chance to play some very good competition, weather-wise, year-round. You can play all fall, you know, most of the winter, and then in the spring, and so there's a lot of appeals to come in this area for baseball. Mm-hmm. You know, in-state, Northern California, kids coming down to Southern California to play, kids in our area that want to stay around home, and obviously kids out of state to get a chance to come play baseball in California, because ultimately, words around the country, I mean, California is still one of the premier states for baseball.
It surely is. In fact, our former coach, Dick Adams, who is retired, he works at a school in New York, in Jamestown, as a part-time coach. He faces a weather crisis there. They can't get out on the field until probably mid-March sometimes. They really don't go over the brunt of their schedule at home till April. So a little bit different than what we face here. But when we come back, Justice is going to talk more about his personnel, the cost for having a baseball program, all the maintenance, and things that go with that. There's a lot of things that you and I don't think much about that he has to worry about. That'll be right back after this time out. You're listening to the sports segment of our Tuesday night Ridgecrest. And we welcome you back to Ridgecrest Talk. I'm Tom Heck with head baseball coach Justice Scott, recently hired at Saracosa College. And before we left for break, Justice, we were talking about the cost of running a baseball program. And I've learned a lot in the last few weeks as I've kind of looked at some itemized items off your desk. But just to have the maintenance of the field runs into all kinds of headaches, so to say, especially if the maintenance hadn't been done very well.
You know, you got that exactly right. You know, baseball is a very expensive sport, and probably, you know, right behind football. I mean, football is the king for its expense, but baseball is not far behind. And field maintenance and field condition is really one of the big items. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it that most people don't know. You know, they come out and see, the field looks good, it's pretty, it's drug, you know, the grass is green, and we're good. But there's a lot that goes into it, from, you know, brick clay under home plate, the mound, the bullpens, you know, your infield mix, your conditioner, your turfus, you know, brick down the lines ideally, and again, everything that it takes to maintain that. It's a daily exercise, and it's money. It costs some money to upkeep and make it look nice, but also playable for your guys, so they have a true hop.
Okay. What about the cost of putting a player together for a game, the cost of a uniform? Now, we all, you know, think about, well, we have to have a hat, we've got to have cleats, at least a couple pair of them, and we have to obviously have tops and bottoms, and we have to have at least a pair for home and a pair for away. And then we need cold weather gear. We got to wear something on cold days. And then we've got to have some practice stuff that we can go out with during the week when we're not playing different games. And then there's other things besides that. Talk about that.
Well, sure. I mean, you hit most of them. But, you know, it's one of those things where most guys, especially nowadays, you know, recruits and young kids, 18 to 22, and even older, they want to look good. And that's part of it, that, you know, they want to have the latest and newest Under Armour or Nike or stuff like that. But, yeah, so that's an important part of it. You know, you want, with your program, you want everybody to look the same. You know, you want to have nice stuff. You know, if you're working out in the weight room in the fall, you want them to be dressed the same in Saracosa Coyotes gear, same colors. It adds an element to unity and just looking good and having a little pride in yourself. So it's again another expense that's huge, especially when you're outfitting 24 to 30 guys and a couple of coaches. So again, it's the costs keep going up and up.
Then there's the travel too. Saracosa, every time that, you know, we hit the road. There's no 10, 15-minute trips like you have down in the city, and that costs money in itself. In the old days, well, maybe up to 3 years ago, we used to play double headers. So you would play every opponent 3 times during the week. You would play one time on maybe a Tuesday, and then on Saturday they would all come and we'd play a double header somewhere. Sometimes it was a Thursday and Saturday, but they did away with the double headers. And if you're a baseball fan, and if you know the travel problems that Saracosa faces, that puts us on the road some weeks, going down maybe twice to Palm Desert or down to the Los Angeles area, Whittier, to play against Rio Hondo, wherever it might be. It's an extra travel expense. And during the Dick Adams era, it was pretty much double headers, which really helped us because it would prevent us from having to hit the road twice during the week. Now that saves on van rental, that saves on food, sometimes lodging. So it's a big chunk out of your budget when the league voted to go away from that and go into just 3 single games a week. And I know that is wear and tear, I think, on travel. There's some good to that and there's some bad to that. Talk about that, Justin.
Well, you know, obviously the bad to it is what we're talking about with fields and uniforms. It ups our budget, ups our costs, and have to spend more for it. So that's something we're going to have to overcome. And you know, our guys, our team's going to have to overcome it anyway. We have to travel. There's nothing we can do to change it at this moment, so we have to prepare ourselves to travel well, play well on the road, and overcome the hurdle. I mean, again, it's one of those things that we don't have any control over, so we have to make it happen and make it work and play well on the road.
You know, a question that came up to me a couple of weeks ago is, well, how much is one of those metal bats that teams use? And maybe would wood be smarter? What do you think?
Well, I think wood would be smarter. I mean, those bats, you know, high end at this level probably range from a cheap one, probably $350, but nowadays they're up to $500-600 for a quality high end Easton or DeMarini or TPX. But they only last about a year too, if that. You're lucky if you get through a year with them. So it's kind of it's a little bit of a racket. I think the wood bat, maybe not a true wood bat. I think at this age and at this level, we'd still break too many, so it wouldn't be cost effective. But you know, they have that composite woods that a little harder to break, and that might be something that I believe in Pennsylvania, they've gone in a couple other states, strictly high school and junior colleges are wood bats. So it could be done. You know, cost analysis, you know, I don't know. I think in the long run it'd probably be a little bit less expensive.
Okay. Let me ask about the safety issue. I know a lot of little leagues were concerned that the ball comes off quicker off a metal bat. Have you done any research on that? Your thought?
Sure. Well, it's gotten better. I mean, I remember a few 8-10 years ago, when especially College World Series, when balls were flying out of there, that yeah, it was like a golf ball coming off it. I mean, it was flat. Balls were hit very hard, and not much reaction time for the pitcher, especially. But they've made some adjustments with it. The aluminum now at the high school and the college level almost mimics a wood. It's pretty close. You know, I don't know the ratio of how they test it, but the -3s are pretty close now to the action off of wood.
So that would dull
it dulls
the bat
it, absolutely, yeah, it dulls it down. That's why you don't see so many home runs in college baseball and in high school, so they're getting closer.
Okay.
It's more safe.
What about the college game? Do you foresee ever the college game going back to wood bats? I mean, talking about the Division I, Division II level, or are things going to probably stay status quo?
I think they'll stay the same. I think the main reason is kind of like what you see in college football sometimes, that you know, fans in the seats. You know, it's still an offensive game, especially at the college level. And most people like to see higher score games, except for the true baseball fan, you know, that likes that 2-1 game. Most still like to see that 8-6, 8-5, couple home runs, couple doubles. So I know they've been complaining about the World Series in Omaha because they moved the fences so far back, and there wasn't as many home runs, as many runs. So now they're talking about moving the fences back in a little bit. So,
okay, hold that thought. We'll talk more about that. I want to make sure my producer gets his spot quickly, or I'll be exiled out. Back after this. And we're back. Tom Heck with Justice Scott. Welcome to Ridgecrest Talk. And next week, hope you'll join us. We'll have Robert Campbell, the athletic director at Burroughs High School here. He'll be talking a lot about the events that are happening over at Sherman E. Burroughs High School, including Burroughs football and some of the other fall sports. Well, Justice, let's talk a little bit about your team, the Saracoso Coyotes, out on the diamond. And who are some of the personnel early on that we're going to be hearing about?
Sure. You know, it's early. We've been at it about 4 weeks, so it's early. But so far, it's been going very, very good. The guys are eager. They're working hard on the field and in the classroom. So from that standpoint, I think we have some things to build on. Obviously, we got to get better and better. You know, I think as a whole, our infield has some depth. Pretty solid. We got some good middle infielders. We look pretty solid behind the plate. You know, our pitching staff, again, early. We got some guys that kind of came in injured, slightly on the IR. So we'll see how that progresses. The outfield, we got a couple guys that can track it down out there. So a big question, again, we open up this Saturday against Barstow. So obviously through the fall, our big question is to see what kind of arms we have and you know, get guys defensively kind of where they're probably going to be in the spring. And we got another month and a half of that. But I think you'll see a good defensive unit come spring. You know, again, too early to tell how we're going to pitch or hit yet.
Okay, well, this Saturday they are basically scrimmaging, playing practice games against Barstow College. And incidentally, Barstow College is coached by Brian King, who was an assistant coach here about 4 years ago with Dick Adams, and from the Denver area, and he took the Barstow job and trying to rebuild that program some. A lot of his kids, like our kids from the Las Vegas area there, now they do have a few things that we don't to get that tuition cut down, which you and I could talk a long time about, but you know, pouting about things that are not going to change is probably not a great idea, as I have learned over the years, and I think that you're finding out right now. Hey, let's talk about something that to me is kind of a sore issue, and that is what the high price salaries of players have done to baseball. And it wasn't all that long ago. 1993 was a very significant year for Major League Baseball. That's when the players went out on strike. And that's when the owners then locked the gates, the doors, so to say, and they basically wanted a salary cap for each team. So if you had a salary cap, a true salary cap, like the NBA does, like the NFL does, then the cost of salaries would have to be maintained and capped. You couldn't give one guy $48 million for a 3-year deal, all right? Or if you did, you couldn't give very many of them. But that didn't hold out, even though the owners at that time banded together and they put their fist down and said, you know what, this is getting ridiculous. but they went to the Supreme Court, and by a count of 3-2, it was voted on, and guess what happened? They were ordered to open up the gates, the strike was over, and the salaries went exorbitant. So in order to pay that, guess what? Television now steps in, and now you have exclusive television rights, which basically transfers to us, the consumer. And in the Dodgers case this year, with down below where they are with Time Warner had a monopoly on everything. And the price was so high for the other cable companies to buy into that, that because of that, the whole high desert didn't get to watch Dodger baseball. It has just become astronomically, I think, ridiculous the way that, and even college football now, it's all basically dictated by money. And that basically is passed on to a lot of people. Inevitably, the fans have to pay more money, and I think it's made the game completely different than it used to be.
Oh, no question. Taking a family of 5, like my case, but even if you're going with, family of 2, you bring your son or your daughter to the game, and it's tough, financially. It's the ticket prices are, exorbitant. Then go in and get a hot dog and a Coke, that jacks it up too. So it's tough to go watch a game. I think that's why a lot of people are finding, good games at a AA park or a AAA park or even an independent league and that type of thing, and enjoying some baseball. Kind of how it's supposed to be. It's but it's across the board. The new Niner Stadium, I've heard some of the prices to get a decent seat. I mean, again, it's kind of wiping out the average fan to go to see a ball game. Now they're going to have to spend the time watching on TV.
Wow. Well, I remember when I was back in about 6th grade, I used to go to Anaheim Stadium, and with a couple friends, Mom would drop us off out there on State College in Anaheim. We would walk across and go into the stadium, and you could buy a field seat down on field level for $5.50 and go sit pretty much anywhere. I wouldn't say anywhere, but a lot of different places, and enjoy the game. Now $5 would not get you probably a soft drink at a baseball game. So obviously that was a while back ago, but the point is things have absolutely, gotten to the point where, you have to almost sacrifice to be able to go to a major league game. Correct.
It's $5 doesn't get you a parking. You can't even park with it. Yeah, so it's a Disneyland trip type thing. You're spending, family 5, you're spending probably $400 or $500 to go see a baseball game or a football game. And it's, again, it's not right, but what are you going to do about it? There's not much right now. So.
Hey, in our last few minutes, you're a big baseball fan. We'll have you back on when the spring comes and when the season starts. But playoffs about ready to begin. You want to go out on the limb here and make any predictions on what's going to happen with the NLCS or the ALCS?
Well, there's some great stories. Some teams that haven't been there and they're getting in, like Kansas City, and the Orioles haven't been there a while. But I think, again, I'm going to stick to I think I mentioned to you, the Tigers, with their pitching staff. If they find a way to hang on, I think they're going to have a shot to roll through it.
Okay. Well, it all comes down to pitching sometimes. Yep. What do you think about a one-game wild card matchup?
It's tough. I think it actually adds some excitement to it. I don't think it's necessarily fair how the rotation's set up and how you ended, and some teams barely get in, but it certainly makes the playoff system a little bit more interesting. I like it. It adds some flavor to it as a fan.
Okay. And Derek Jeter on his way out.
Yes. Again, great guy, epitome of someone you want to emulate as a young kid. Great baseball player, acted the right way the entire time. Great guy.
Justice, appreciate you coming by tonight. We wish you the best of luck, and we will see you again, including you're going to help me Friday night on Burroughs High School football, and hopefully you'll all be out there to support the Burroughs. Next week, it'll be Robert Campbell here with me. Thank you for watching Ridgecrest Talk. For my guest, Justice, I'm Tom Heck, bidding you a pleasant good evening.